Well, greetings, everyone. This is Pankaj Patel. I am a senior advisor to March Capital, as well as I am an investor and a board member of SparkCognition. And I'm also an entrepreneur. Um, it's, a, it's my pleasure as well as a privilege to really host a session on SparkCognition with my very distinguished friend, Amir Hussain. SparkCognition is a highly innovative and a very unique, cognitive artificial intelligence company. SparkCognition builds AI solutions that unearth insights living within the customer data. They're constantly innovating to create exponential technologies that allow their clients to optimize operations, predict future events, protect their assets, and accelerate their growth. While others might speculate and chase the hype, Spark Cognition is motivated by what is proven, scalable, and impactful. With the deep expertise across critical industries, they work with their customers to solve the real problems, big and small, that matter the most to them. So, this is what Spark is all about. And I have always been impressed by an incredible amount of energy every time I walk into their premises. So I'm really proud to be associated with Spark. A bit about Amir Hussain. Uh, he's one of the most brilliant and serial entrepreneurs I have met, actually. He's an inventor, he's a technologist, an author based in Austin, Texas. He is the founder and CEO of an award winning artificial intelligence company, SparkCognition, as well as he's the founding CEO of SkyGrid, a Boeing and SparkCognition joint venture that's building an aerial operating system to power the next century of aviation. Amit's work has been featured into the world leading outlets such as Forbes, Fox Business News, and proceedings from the US Naval Institute. He's the author of the best selling book, The Sentient Machine and the Coming Age of Artificial Intelligence, and a co author of the compilation of Hyperwar, Conflict, and Competition in the AI Century. It's my pleasure to introduce my dear friend Amir Hussain so he can talk about Spark.
Well,
Amir, over
Pankaj,
to you.
thank you so much, Pankaj, for that very kind introduction. As Pankaj explained, my name is Amir Hussain, and I'm the founder and CEO of SparkCognition. Um, the largest economic opportunity in the years and decades ahead is to reimagine the world's infrastructure and transform it from being an artifact of the industrial age to something that truly belongs in our present cognitive age. Machines have been conceived as levers and gears and pulleys and mechanical constructs that amplify our force. But now we have the opportunity to reimagine them as thinking machines. And in fact, if we are to protect this planet from climate change, if we are to secure our supply chains, defend our nations in an increasingly complex world order, emerging world order, and indeed make our manufacturing infrastructure more competitive, produce cleaner energy, we will find that AI is crucial to all these goals. So with Spark Cognition, we are building a company that will reinvent this physical infrastructure by embedding intelligence into the devices that run our economies. And enabling that transformation is certainly not easy, but it is, I believe, the largest economic opportunity of our time. So while we have this huge aspiration, we have married it with the practicality of building a real sustainable software products business. We focused on the optimality, safety, security of industrial assets, assets that are all around us and run our power plants, offshore rigs, manufacturing facilities, and indeed our military hardware. So our focus on making this underlying physical infrastructure more intelligent and more capable has struck a chord with the largest clients in the world. And as you'll see here on this list, we've built a proven track record of delivery to large customers. And these customers range from Boeing and the US DoD to British Petroleum and Siemens and Flowserve and many more. And as I mentioned previously, the AI opportunity itself is immense. But as I like to say, AI is not a technology. AI is not a vertical. AI is a science. And talking about the AI opportunity a little bit is like talking about the mathematics opportunity or the physics opportunity, right? It's a science. It can be broadly applied to many areas. And here I have these McKinsey charts that I've laid out for you, which break out, particularly within the industrial category, where the use cases for present-day artificial intelligence technology really reside. And they all add up to be a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. By the way, these are the very use cases that we excel in. So we are a product company, and we're focused on increasing operating leverage and delivering value to our customers right out of the box. Our products all interoperate like Lego bricks. They've been designed to work together and expand our coverage of client use cases and problems. Spark Predict, for example, takes sensor data to detect anomalies for oil and gas, for CPG, for batteries in EVs, or utility scale battery deployments on the grid, you name it. It's meant for the maintainer, for the operations expert, not for a data scientist. Deep Armor is the category leading zero-day threat prevention system. It's uniquely available on older hardware, older operating systems that are all over the place in industry and DoD and manufacturing and power. And it gives us a huge edge, as has been evidenced with the Siemens partnership that we formulated. The two other applications are different in that the first two that I described, they ingest binary and numeric data, but Deep NLP then extends our coverage to the written word, documents, language, guides, books, manuals, trouble tickets. We're solving problems in cases where there are no sensors with Deep NLP. And finally, empowerment for our clients' own data science teams is Darwin, which is a neuroevolutionary model builder and automated no-code AI application building environment. A platform that in fact uses AI, uses genetic algorithms to build AI in the form of deep networks. And this system then allows analysts that are comfortable even with something simple like Excel to leverage the power of machine learning without needing a PhD in computer science. In the industrial AI category, I can comfortably say that there's simply no other company that has the technological depth that we've built at SparkCognition. This is both about our people as well as about our technology. Our Chief Science Officer, Professor Bruce Porter, is a two-time chair of UT Austin Computer Science, which is number 6 in the world in computer science and higher potentially in AI. Our CTO, former CTO of IBM Watson, and our VP of Engineering is the former CTO of Dell. My own background in AI goes back decades now. I've written a book on the subject. And the research we've produced as part of our SparkCognition research organization has been featured at the leading academic conferences. It genuinely represents solutions to previously unsolved problems. We aren't just taking off-the-shelf software and adding some marketing fluff to call it AI. This is genuinely new work, and we are now approaching 100 patents. By the way, patents and technology and innovation that addresses problems that were unsolved, that are solutions to which are needed by our customers. So net-net, SparkCognition is genuinely a deep tech company with deep moats. So now let me give you a couple of examples here of the types of problems we've solved for our clients. In the interest of time, this is a short list, but really I could go on and on. We've deployed with one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world on offshore rigs. We started with a deployment on 2 rigs, which was then recently expanded 700%. We are now deploying on rigs in a period of days and a couple of weeks. We are finding ROI on literally the first day. We just recently deployed a rig where we found a problem on the first day, a significant problem. We're showing improvements in production up to $30 million per major asset. And we're providing forewarning on failures of up to 9 days, which means such useful detection that you can actually make something with that forecast. If a system was to predict a failure in the next 15 minutes on an offshore oil rig, can't really do much about that. But with 9 hours, there's all sorts of real business mitigation that can then step in and do the job. One of the other things, of course, is that predictive maintenance isn't just predictive maintenance. It's not all the same. So in the case of these offshore oil rigs, SparkCognition software comes in and models the whole rig and dozens of systems that interoperate and all the chaotic interoperation and what that means in terms of the uptime and the health of the overall rig. We're able to calculate that as opposed to looking at an individual system. Second thing is that we're able to operate well even in environments when there's not much training data. And this is quite revolutionary and quite in contrast to many other machine learning approaches. And the third is that we have for years now built in explainability, where we can tell our clients and give them a good indication as to why we believe that there is a problem that's imminent. And that, of course, is also critical for them to make decisions. Now, the same technology, the same products scale across markets, scale across verticals, and in this lies, I think, great potential for SparkCognition. We've extended the same technology to provide optimal maintenance for aircraft. We've been able to reduce the turnaround time for large aircraft. We've applied this to military aircraft and found that 60 to 70% of field replacements on certain parts were unnecessary and could be saved. Tremendous amounts of savings across multiple use cases with aircraft. And then there's a whole plethora, frankly, of successful deployments in refineries with CPG, which is one of my favorites, where we've gone in a partnership over the last couple of years with one of the largest beverage companies in the world. And the use case there is absolutely brilliant, where we've implemented our system in a live factory, and we're able to identify for them water conservation opportunities, in addition to optimizing the machinery itself and helping them using AI at a plant-wide level meet their KPIs. So really the sky is the limit as far as reimagining the world and the infrastructure of the world as a collection of smarter systems that talk to each other, that learn from each other, that are protected, that are secured, and that optimize outcomes for the business owner. So finally, let me also tell you a little bit about our growth story. Growth at SparkCognition has been very healthy, but the way that I look at it is that this is just the beginning. We want to build, and frankly, my aspiration has always been to build one of the most enduring companies in the software sector. Everything that we've done, from the people that we've brought close to us, from the management team, the dozens of amazing engineers with PhDs and groundbreaking discoveries that they've made. With all of this, the aspiration is to be one of the all-time greats. And we believe that with our team, our investors and board members who are par excellence, we definitely have that potential. We've got highly differentiated technology, and this is just the beginning for SparkCognition. So I'm convinced that there are exciting days ahead for our business. And let me stop here. Thank you very much for your time. Pankaj, There is a very small clip that I could speak to, a short demo of an integrated technology, but I just wanted to check with you on
No,
time.
please go ahead. No,
Okay.
please go ahead. This is an incredible story. So please go ahead.
Thank you. So very recently, so I've talked about many aspects. I've talked about industrial cyber, I've talked about autonomy, I've talked about our work with DoD in the aviation sector. I thought maybe in a minute or so, I would show you a real demo to give you a sense of how deep our capabilities are and what level of value we're now delivering to our clients. What you're seeing is an autonomous aircraft designed at SparkCognition, running SparkCognition software, being managed from the ground controller all the way through with SparkCognition software. This is the first instance ever in the world where a drone has carried AI-based autonomous cyber protection software, has then been attacked from the ground, and has fended off that attack without human intervention. There will be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of drones flying in the sky. When I talk about a smarter world, these are the types of things that I'm talking about. Even our military doesn't have capabilities of this level, at least publicly known now. But this is going to be a capability essential to the safe implementation of drones in our airspace. So here you'll witness that first test in, let's see here, we can play this. So this is flying at our HyperWorks facility, which is just about 30 minutes north of our Austin office. What you'll see is a drone. You can carry a 20-pound payload equipped with our Deep Armor for Aviation embedded software. From ground control, you can look at the health of these systems. You can look at exactly what's going on with these drones. Not only is the drone itself protected against malevolent threats, but all of its pods, any cameras that it carries, any other ISR systems that it carries, are also separately protected with Deep Armor. So here, the engineer is wiring in a special pod that also has an embedded computer, which is being protected independently. Now, as they've launched the drone, they will launch a cyber attack from the ground. It's all real. And as they do that, you'll see that Deep Armor will detect the attack and will block the attack. They're launching the attack now. The drone is in flight autonomously with no human intervention. And Deep Armor now detects and blocks the malicious attack. So this is just one small example, first in the world, first of its kind. Of course, we work closely with DoD, but these systems are useful for oil and gas companies, wind companies. In this case, you see a wind farm. Drones are being used for inspections of large-scale infrastructure, providing security. And all of these capabilities at the end of the day are artificial intelligence systems guiding, controlling, securing, and maintaining assets of this type. So it's just the beginning, and this is just one area where SparkCognition is doing very well and growing aggressively. So with that, again, thank you very much. Back to you, Pankaj.
Okay. This is absolutely incredible and amazing, right? So that actually brings me to my very first question. For a young startup to have a joint venture with one of the largest US corporation like Boeing, right? This is not an easy task by any means, right? And to form the SkyGrid, and you are the founding CEO of SkyGrid. Uh, can you talk a little bit more about why you launched the company and how do you see the UAM market evolving in the near future, right? Because I have heard from you and I can see a giant potential because I can only imagine like a couple of them, major players, one in obviously North America and one in Europe. This can be really giant. This can be huge. So if you can talk about that, that'd be awesome.
Pankaj, this is going to be one of the biggest things in the world, and I'll tell you why. Because here is my hypothesis. The future of aviation is millions of autonomous systems flying in the sky, all shapes and sizes, doing all sorts of tasks simultaneously. The future of aviation is not hundreds or thousands of manned aircraft alone navigating the air. So if you believe that this is the hypothesis, and if you believe we're heading towards a world of millions of autonomous aircraft of all shapes and sizes, then you know that air traffic control as it exists today is insufficient. Aircraft maintenance as it exists today is insufficient. The number of pilots will never be to the level that this new ecosystem requires. Everything around the economy of flight is about to change. SkyGrid is a partnership with Boeing to reimagine that infrastructure. It is coming. If you look at some of the recent news around UAM, urban aerial mobility companies, Archer and others that are now partnering with SPACs, Joby Aviation, these are just single aircraft. And look at how much excitement there is around that. It's if you take a PC versus operating system analogy, these are very nice looking, very powerful PCs, but there's going to be many PCs. But the question is, what secure operating system connects them all together, provides cybersecurity, provides planning, provides route avoidance, provides integration with the FAA, and so on, all of which SkyGrid does. Now, if we were a small startup and we said, we just want to do this on our own, we have the technological capacity and we'll go ahead and do it. The reality is that this is a space where you have to have a deep understanding, appreciation, and relationships with regulators, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And this is where the Boeing company, which frankly is 60% of the aviation business in the world, is the perfect partner. So that's why we did this. This is why I'm so excited about it. And to me, this is one area in which artificial intelligence is already changing the world. This will be one of the biggest things ever. And this, Pankaj, is one of the things that SparkCognition will do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is, as I said, this is absolutely incredible for such a giant company to really reach out and collaborate with phenomenally innovative company like SparkCognition. SparkCognition recently announced its acquisition of AIM2, which is a fintech joint venture between Brevan Howard and Nomura. With this acquisition, does SparkCognition plan to be more heavily focused on the financial services industry?
Pankaj, as you know, SparkCognition has always had offerings for financial services. Brevan Howard has been a client going back years. Alan Howard also invested in the company and is a dear personal friend who has been very helpful to me and to the leaders at SparkCognition. But in addition to Alan, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, State Street Bank are also investors and have been customers of SparkCognition. So the London Stock Exchange is another client that we've had. So the point is that SparkCognition has always been focused in this area, but the AIM Squared acquisition is going to be a game changer because this acquisition is built around the absolute cutting edge, best of breed fintech technology powered by AI that was designed by the top minds at Nomura and the top minds at Brevan Howard, which for some of the audience who may not have heard of that fund, is the premier macro hedge fund. And Alan is one of the most brilliant macro guys in the world. So they came together and they did this, and we've had a deep relationship with them. In our view, the combination of SparkCognition's capabilities in NLP and AI, and the fact that this suite of products is not just great technically, but it is actually deployed and is delivering tremendous results within both Brevan Howard as well as Nomura. This is going to be a game changer for us. My view is that a lot of finance will go the way of AI, a lot of finance. And you're seeing that at some levels now, but even with complex tasks, even with the kinds of things that are related to risk and portfolio analysis and reinforcement learning for trading strategies, and a lot of stuff will go the way of AI. So this is going to be a huge opening for us, and we couldn't have asked for better partners. These guys are tremendous partners. We're now engaged in multi-year, multi-million-dollar agreements with Brevan as well as Nomura, and we're just getting started.
That's awesome. I know we are going to be running out of time, but I'm going to read a last question, and if you can answer that quickly, that'd be awesome. Texas recently experienced that really unprecedented freeze, and power crisis, which really brought the climate change and clean energy into the discussions to the forefront. Are ESG factors a priority for SparkCognition? And if so, what growth opportunities are there for AI in this area?
Massive. In fact, I just wrote an article in Forbes that showed up this morning on the Texas freeze and the implications and how artificial intelligence can save the day, as it were. But the reality is, with AI-based planning tools, with better predictive maintenance, there's the ability also to model black swan type events using AI-based simulation techniques. There's a ton of stuff, not to mention cyber. Because the one thing that hasn't yet happened is a cyber strike against the grid infrastructure hasn't taken place. We build deep armor, we partner with Siemens. One of the things that I've been sort of really pushing hard on is, guys, don't be surprised when the next black swan, so-called, is a cyber strike that takes out the grid. You know there's a risk, put the risk mitigation in place. Deep armor is that risk mitigation rolled out in context of the Siemens partnership. So lots we can do there, Pankaj.
Great. Well, with that, I know we are really out of time. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for an amazing presentation and educating everyone about Spark Cognition, and more importantly, the opportunities ahead in this area of AI and how pervasive this is going to be, touching every facet of our lives. So once again, thank you. And thanks to everyone who joined this session. If you want to learn more, please reach out to Spark Cognition through the website, as well as through March Capital through the context. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank you.